Thanks for staying with us. The National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, that's NaCCA, has begun a thorough assessment and some scrutiny of proposed textbooks for basic schools in the country. Director General of the NaCCA, Professor Edward Appiah, led a team to visit some of the schools in Accra today. They found out that some of the teachers were resorting to unapproved textbooks and relying on some sole authors for the teaching and learning activities within some schools.
Of course, there was one or two teachers who were using some books which were not approved. But it was for the teachers. They said that they are using it to help in their preparatory, which is fine. And so we encourage people, teachers, even parents, to make sure that the books that are being used, they check to see whether surely it has been approved or not. The ones that they are not in, and as I just indicated, the minister have tasked NaCCA to get the data for every school, especially now that we are doing NST, we've been doing P6, we've been doing DHS. We need to have the data so that it can be used to do the distribution, because it's sad when the materials have been procured, the textbooks have been procured, yet the schools think that they don't have them. And the minister is worried, and he has taxed, even it's an adult tax, but we'll make sure that we get the data so that the supplies will go directly to the schools and we'll cut short these issues of we don't have them, even though it's been supplied.
Well, the head teacher of one of the schools that was visited today, Belinda Sevako, revealed that even though the government has supplied some of the textbooks, the ones available are not enough, which is affecting teaching and learning.
In a way, I would say yes, because the children need it to, at least when they see pictures of things, it will help them. When they see the pictures and they are able to read too, it helps them. The teachers jot down a few points for them, but if they have the books, it will help them. The curriculum started in 2019. It was simple. Yes, we've had this challenge, but they've solved it to a point. So, by providing some of the books for us last year. The other three have not been provided, so at all, yes.
What's the way forward and how does NaCCA intend to deal with the problem? Joining us now is Professor Edward Appiah. He's the Director General of the National Council on Curriculum and Assessment. Thank you, sir, for spending some time with us. So you've been to some of the schools. You've seen firsthand what's happening in these institutions. What's first of all, your general impression about, the level of readiness that you've seen for yourself in some of these schools? Prof, I'm having challenges hearing you. If you could just unmute for us. So I believe you're muted. Loud and clear, sir. And it's good to see you again. You so yes, I was just asking about, the rounds that you've done, your impression about this day and what you've seen in the schools for yourself.
Thank you, my brother, and good afternoon to your viewers and your listeners. Let me say that it was quite a successful activity that we undertook today. And when we went around, most of the schools, majority of the schools that we visited were using approved textbooks, both private and public. Indeed, this aspect of textbooks not being approved, it's a worrying. It worries us a lot because we are mandated to make sure that textbooks that get into the space, the schools, are books that have been approved. And we have been approving books, but by and large, you come out or you hear a book comes out and it's not approved and it's being used. So we decided that, no, today we have to take up the challenge. Sometimes we think that maybe the schools and the teachers and the heads might not probably be conversant enough with the approved textbooks or what to look out for. So we said that, well, let us go and do this sensitization. And that is how come we went out. But I must say that it was quite a successful activity. We really appreciated what we saw. And we are confident that going forward, as we keep on doing this, we will be able to bring to fore the approved books that, or how people or students and teachers and the heads will be able to understand that if anything at all, they should go with the approved textbooks. It helps all of us.
Our reporter who was with you is that it's clear that some of the teachers are using, textbooks that have not been approved. But there's also the second leg to that conversation, because they simply don't have the books. So how do you reconcile the two? You acknowledge, first of all, that there is a problem within the system?
I must say that this is one of the challenge that the ministry is in. And as I indicated to your team, the Minister for Education is worried about this. The ministry have approved or have procured so many books. And you hear this has not reached the school, this has not been received. And he thinks that maybe there's something going on which we need to investigate. And so he has tasked NaCCA to make sure that with the data that we have been picking from the NST, it should be possible for us to get the data for every school, so that if we say we are procuring, the ministry is procuring this number of schools, then we are sure that every child has got the book. And so we are in the process of getting this data verified, and that can be used to curb this incident. Interestingly, some of the schools that we went, the books were there, but you can see that the children, two people are using a textbook. You ask the teacher and say, the rest is there. We don't want to bring all of them out so that it will get spoiled.
Really?
And so, yes. And so two people are using their book, and half of the books are in the stores. And I'm like, well, give it to them, let them use it, because the policy is one child, one book. And so why do you keep half of them? But these are all part of our sensitization that we are doing, so that at least every child has access to it.
Okay, so I'm still trying to make sense of why you told some of the schools today, and there's the question about how you are forming part of the solution. Are you just identifying the problems? Where lies the solution?
Okay, you see, one of the things that even push us is to, sometimes the schools or the heads don't even know which of the approved books. You take a book and they have indicated, and we saw some of them. They said GES approved syllabus. And I'm like, what is GES approved syllabus? But that is what has been captured at the back of the book. Some of them are based upon approved, NaCCA approved syllabus. Of course, if you find a book which says based upon NaCCA approved syllabus, yes, the syllabus has been approved, NaCCA has designed it. But as to whether the book has been approved, it's also another thing. And so I think that heads and institutions need to get this right. And that is one of the reasons why we went out to see for ourselves some of these things and then point it out to them. Beyond that, we are now coming out with QR codes. Now, coming up, almost all books, or not almost, every book that have been approved will have the QR code. And anybody who picks the book will have to scan and see whether the book is approved or not, the date that it was approved, the ISBN, and everything which pertains to the book, so that we will curb this incident of GES approved syllabus, NaCCA approved syllabus, based on NaCCA standardized tests, which in reality may not have been approved.
Okay, why not get to the standards? Because it's also part of the challenge that, of course, I'm trying to see through, based on what you're telling us now. The issue about having a common framework that will guide each school, whether private or public, to at least be informed on some of the books and where they could get them from. What's been, that bottleneck, the challenge to attaining that one common standard that every school will just apply, regardless of whether or not you supply the textbooks or otherwise?
Okay, you see, for the public schools, to a large extent, you might not have them. But for the private schools, they might fall prey to some of these things. But if we have a QR code, and you see now, people are using maybe the NaCCA logo, and when they think that, when they see the NaCCA logo being applied to the book, they think that that is an approved one.
Yes.
But we are even going beyond that. We are saying that we don't even need our logo to be at the back of the books. The QR code that is supplied to publishers or printers should be enough for everybody to see and verify. So if you buy the book, the code is there, you scan, you can easily see and identify whatever it takes to approve the book. And basically that is what we are going to do. And we think that that is going to be easier and better for all of us.
The reason for which you're doing this, partly I also believe, is because of the change or transformation taking place in the education sector. New curriculum coming up or either developed, and you also want to streamline and you know, adjust the system to ready itself for the change that's set to come. Would that include the change? Would that include a change in, you know, some of the textbooks that we see our children using in the various classrooms?
Okay, you see, the nation embarked on this transformation by coming out with a new curriculum, and we started the standard base. We've moved on to the common core, and we are now developing that for the senior high school, for which possibly we'll be rolling out next year if the minister gives us approval. And this will crystallize the transformation that we are talking about. It means that the books that are coming will be new. For example, the JHS and the primary school, we already have them, we have approved them, but the SHS will also change. There are so many things that are coming, will take place in the books that we are going to be delivered in the coming years. And I'm telling you, my brother, it's going to be an exciting time. Those who are in JHS now, or those who will be in JHS next year, moving on to senior high school the following year, they will have a smooth and interesting transition and curriculum to work with. Because you see, they are the people who started the common core, and that common core is that which is being transitioned into the senior high school. And children in that era will not struggle when it comes to learning in the space. Right. It's going to be an interesting. I heard people trying to change or push their children this year to do BEC because they thought that BEC was going to be cancelled. BEC was not going to cancel. Rather, because it's a new curriculum, the content will change. And we are going to prepare the children so that when they get into next year, the final doing the exams, they'll have it easily. Right. And it will continue to SHS, where they are going to use the new curriculum, which by then already been in. So education and learning will be easier for these coming children. Trust me, in the coming days.
We'll take your word for it. We'll take your word for it for now, and see what will happen in the coming days. But we can't leave this conversation without talking about the teachers as we wrap up. What's in for the teachers, by the way? Because when you did the tour, some of the teachers were complaining about how they don't even have the, you know, necessary resources to teach.
Yeah, and I think these were the reasons why we went, and the minister has asked us to make sure that we get the data to be sure that the books that have been supplied, that are going to be supplied, will actually reach every student. And so we are getting in there. Beyond that, we are also training the teachers. You see, when we started implementing the common core and the standard base, because of the fact that COVID set in, some of these things were truncated. But now we have the full complement, and NaCCA is going to lead in the training of the teachers so that they will understand the senior high school curriculum that is coming up. Of course, we'll be doing even some further training for the JHS teachers also, so that they will also come to terms with the common core curriculum. These are the things that we think when we do, it will enhance. And we are poised to do that. We are poised to deliver that mandate.
Okay. Prof, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Always my pleasure, my brother.